As most of you know, I am Kate Zeitvogel. I am the Director of Customer Success at Cadre here, which basically means that I am the top person to come to for any of those nitty-gritty, nuanced Cadre questions. I'm joined by a cadre of Cadre friends here. So let me quickly go around the horn and introduce everyone that we've got joining us today. We've got Kim Corhonen joining us. She's our general manager. We've got Bianna Spence joining us. She's a customer success associate. We've got Michael Shaman, our director of business development, joining us. And we've also got Aaron, our director of accounting. I think I got your title correct, but Aaron, thank you for joining us. Thank you everyone for joining us. We've also got Lana Was, who just joined us as well, our other customer success associate joining us today. So once again, everyone, welcome in. We are so glad to have you all joining us in March. Today, we wanted to discuss expenses and expense reports, how to get those different expenses added in there, and to answer some of those more nuanced expense questions. So we're going to go ahead and dive right in. We'll show you, we know our support desk receives so many questions about how to do this. And I'm glad that we've got Erin joining us today with accounting. She and her team are the ones that are the final stop for all accounting and expense report questions. So she'll also be here to kick in some knowledge for all of us as well. So Bianna, when you are ready, if you would share your screen so that we can dive right in. I know that like I said, we've had several questions from a lot of our freelancers through our support desk about how to add different expenses. But first, let's dive right into some of those by talking about, like, let's do, if you could, we're showing, here we go. There's my screen. Bianna's profile in here. She's got a couple of contracts, and this particular one is one of her on-site contracts. As many of you know, we've got two different types of contracts in here. You can be contracted for on-site work or contracted for office remote work. This particular one, as we can see, is for on-site work. And it looks like Bianna, if you wouldn't mind heading on down and start adding some expenses. As soon as you're contracted, you can get expenses added in there. So I know that many people have questions about how to get some of these added. So let's dive right into that. First, you're going to go ahead and select the date that it was incurred. Perfect. Whether it's reimbursable or not. In this situation, let's do mileage, Bianna. So this is going to be reimbursable. This is in a situation where you're driving to the airport to get to your flight to go on site, or maybe you are running an errand once you are on site, whatever that case may be, and that mileage is reimbursable. This is how you're going to do that. So Bianna, go ahead and pick an address in there.
Sorry, mistyped.
It's all good. I know how it is putting you right on the spot there. Excellent. No problem. Get a few more people added in here. So you'll add your address, and as you can see, there's this drop down right in here, and that's because we have Google paired in the back end. So making sure that you select from the drop down so that you've got that lovely green check mark in there.
There it is.
There you go, because if you don't, it won't calculate properly. And then you add a description in here. As you can see, it will automatically calculate. We use the latest national reimbursement for mileage amount right in there. And Bianna can go ahead and add that to her expenses, quick and easy. So that's mileage. Again, really simple, but keep in mind that it is one way. So if you drove there, you probably need to drive back, and to account for that. So make sure that you've got your mileage going to and from. Make sure that you've got your mileage accurate. We know that sometimes people will take different routes than what Google presents to you right away. So just make sure that everything looks right but for the most part, everything should be calculated correctly and added right in there. So we've got that quick and easy. And if she needed to, she can edit that pretty quickly. Wonderful.
Kate, may I say something?
Sure.
I've had TDs ask, oh, I'm getting a ride, they're dropping me off, and then, they're going back home. It's like, well, no, that's not like round trip. That was nice. They dropped you off. You can only have one-way mileage, not round trip, your husband dropping you off at the, property. So.
Perfect. Yeah, great point. Thank you for pointing that out, Kim. Yeah, that's great to add that in there. Thank you.
I have one more thing too, just to say that when you put these in, even when you start putting these in, don't hit submit right away. Wait until you have all your expenses in. And the day after, I think it's the day after, you can then submit, but you can keep adding during the program, but don't hit submit.
Exactly. Perfect. And you won't be able to until that day, the end of your contract happens. Excellent. All right. So let's go on and show some of those other stranger ones. For example, if you were to work outside of the country, if you have expenses that are not in US dollars, how would you go about accounting for that? Erin, I know that you're frequently telling us that we need to have that currency exchange rate to show what that exchange rate is, right?
Yes, correct. So all of your expenses need to be submitted in US dollars. What needs to be on your expense report is the original receipt for the charge and the currency converter, a screenshot of the currency converter going from the foreign currency to US dollar and the USD amount on the expense.
Wonderful. Excellent. So Bianna, could you show us how to add that in there? You've got your screenshot in there of the currency converter. We use OANDA as our.
Okay, guys, so sorry. We're having minor technical difficulties, but going forward, I just need to take a quick screen grab. So I use Snip and Sketch for purposes like this, and it just allows me to quickly grab what I need. So I don't know if you can see all the stuff I'm doing. So boom, which makes it easier also to upload it to the site as a screenshot what you need for your receipt, and then boom. And then I just and then you just go forward and you submit it that way. And then don't forget, when you go on your receipt, you can also change it, crop the picture if you need to, rotate it. As you can see, I have a little bubble here, so I can just crop that out if need be. There that is. And so that's how I just added the currency conversion. Are there any questions?
Thank you so much, Bianna, for covering that for me, and apologies for my technical difficulties over on my end here. But great job, Bianna. Questions that we can help answer for people while we.
I want to note, I would like to note that you can only have one receipt image per expense line. So you will have to add the original receipt for currency conversion to one expense line with the amount, and that will be marked as reimbursable. And then the screenshot of the currency conversion also needs to be included, and that can be attached as not reimbursable. And it will attach the receipt image, but we'll keep that expense line as $0.
Excellent. And that actually answers one of our questions in the chat there. So thank you for jumping in with that, Erin. That's really helpful. The question in there was, why would I ever choose non-reimbursable? And that would be one of the reasons why you would choose non-reimbursable for those currency exchange, currency conversion notes in there. Excellent. Great. Well, I know that one of the other questions that we frequently get when it comes to expenses is I paid gratuities. I don't have an actual receipt. How do I add that in here? Keep in mind, not everyone reimburses for gratuities, so make sure that you check that expense policy before you just jump right in and agree to it. But if your client is reimbursing for gratuities, Bianna is going to show us real fast how to add that in there. We do have a gratuities option in that drop down. Wonderful. We've got notes in there for you. Now, what do you do about a receipt? Erin, jump in. What are the items that we need to have on that? And I'm going to put those air quotes out there, that receipt for those gratuities.
Yeah, I just recommend exactly that's on the screen there is a gratuity. I usually, the amounts have to be broken out. As you can see, the driver and the waiter. I usually try to include more information like the program number and the dates that it occurred.
Excellent. Excellent. So for this one, she might send this one back if she were to approve, if she were reviewing the expenses, or your client might, just to get those extra details. And those extra details that Erin specifically is looking for, again, are the program number and the date that it was incurred, right? Perfect. So go ahead and add that in there.
I'm sorry to interrupt. You
No,
can easily include that that in the expense description instead of going back and rewriting your receipt and reattaching the image. If we ever send it back asking for more information, just put it in the description.
Perfect. Excellent. Well, thank you. Bianna, if you could go ahead and add that in there.
Question, Kate, while she's adding
Sure.
that.
Yes.
You mentioned the program number, but up above in the same screen, I see event number. Is that two different things?
No, same thing.
Okay.
Great question. Just lingo and terminology, but same thing. It's that 5-digit number that sometimes referred to project number, program number, event number, but it's that 5-digit number that gets assigned to every program or posting, I should say, out there. And while we are watching Bianna do this, and to your point, Beth, anytime you have any question or any need any help for any of these postings in here, giving the support desk or giving your client just a quick reminder of what that program number, event number is, just makes it a little easier for everyone to find that information, more quickly answer the question. Great question though, because I do slip up sometimes in my terminology.
No, I was just curious because it is above in the event number. So I was just wondering,
Yes.
Should we include it both times you're saying though? Just for
In
clarity?
expenses, you really don't need to, because it's all wrapped up right in there. But let's say you needed to reach out to support with a question about how to add it, or something doesn't look right with one of your expenses, or you needed help for something. Adding the event number that's in there to that support question will just make it faster for our support team to more accurately respond.
Got it. And is that is the same event/program number that the client sees? So one and the same. Okay.
Exactly. Yep. You got it. Excellent. Great. Fantastic. And as Bianna is showing, once it's added in here, you can preview what it looks like, so she can review the receipt in there and see exactly what the client is going to see. So if any updates need to be done, for example, that image is not easy to read on the angle it currently is. So just rotating it, which we've provided that option in here for all of you, makes it a little faster for your client or for our accounting team to review and approve in there. So take that few extra seconds to do that. It just makes everything faster and a lot smoother for everyone. Additionally, once you have all of your expenses submitted, reviewed, and approved, you and your client have the ability to download a summary, including any of those approved receipts. So it makes it easier on you in the long run to review those receipts if you ever needed to in the future. Wonderful. These are great questions, great points. The last one that we frequently receive questions about is, what if I have no expenses, or why is my contract not completing? I don't have any expenses. What do I need to do? It's real fast, pretty simple to do that. And just so that everybody knows, every single contract, regardless of the status of it or regardless of the type, whether it's on-site, office remote, whether it's active or whether it's been canceled, every single contract has an expense report. And the reason for that is just in case you happen to incur expenses at any point along the way. So this is that opportunity to submit those expenses and get it approved and reimbursed for you right within Cadre. Now, all that said, there are several times, especially if you've been contracted and then the event cancels before you go on site for your on-site contract, and you don't have any expenses to submit. What do you do? It's quick and simple. We've actually got a nice little link right in here for you so that you simply click here, as Biana is doing, a nice little slide out, just confirming that you don't have any expenses, and you're going to submit right then and there. Simple, easy, and now the client knows that they don't have anything to review. You can get queued up for payment and everything is all set.
Hey, Kate, there are two questions.
Yeah.
If the required receipt has 2 pages, such as a hotel folio, does it require 2 entries?
It's a great question. Erin's probably the better one to answer that. I'm going to go ahead and say yes. And one of those can be listed as non-reimbursable so that it's not as confusing and not showing and making sure that it lists up properly in the expense report there. Erin, am I right on that?
You're correct.
Excellent. Great.
Okay,
Great question. What's the next one?
Question is photos.
Kate, can you show which drop down they use?
I'm sorry, what was that, Kim?
Oh, can you show where what drop down they use for the zero balance folio? Because some are not using the right one.
We don't currently have Biana contracted on any programs that require a zero balance folio. However, we can try going into one in just a few moments. However, for anyone contracted on events with Kim, for example, or Ashley here at Cadre, you will be required to add a zero balance folio. In the dropdown, it's the very first in the dropdown, labeled zero balance folio. Keeps it really simple, nice and clean.
And can you clarify what that's used for, Kate?
Sure. Some of our clients require you to submit, even though they've paid for the air and or they've paid for the hotel, they still require documentation all within your expense report is the easiest way they've found to do it. And so some of them require you to add this zero balance folio. It's just pretty much a non-reimbursable expense that lists the hotel or the hotel invoice and the airfare so that they have record of it all within their invoice as well.
Got it.
And that double checks to make sure that the TD paid for incidentals before they left the program, because that rarely happens, but it has been an issue.
Excellent.
Okay, I have one more question, and it says photos of expenses are they still required to be in JPEG or Bing versus PDF?
Yes. Yes. Unfortunately, we're not able to do PDF for the expense report right now. It's basically an issue of putting PDF within a PDF. And the technology does not like that for whatever reason. So while we work on figuring all of that out, it does still need to be a JPEG. But all that said, most of us have these handy dandy smartphones these days. If you've got a PDF and you need to easily convert it, just pull out that handy dandy smartphone, take a quick picture with your camera, quick and easy. And it'll be nicely formatted so that you can upload it. And just to piggyback off of that, we did for a little while there have a little difficulty with the brand new iPhones because, as you know, Apple likes to have proprietary coding in there, and it was having some difficulty being uploaded. We've taken a look and we've fixed all of that. So you should have no problems taking pictures with any phone and uploading that as your receipt. Wonderful. What other questions can we help answer for people? Great. All righty. Well, I know that those were the 4 top expense report questions that we receive, and we've peppered in a few as you've asked them as well, which is wonderful. We are happy to answer any other questions you might have about expense reports, about Cadre itself. If anyone's got any ideas that they would like to share, we're happy to open it up at this time and answer all of that. But we do also want to make this a forum and open up as a dialogue for all of you. So I would like to kick things off and say, I know that we're starting to get into spring and summer. So I want to know, how is it looking for all of you? How's Q2 looking for all of you out there? Busier than Q1? I see some heads nodding. I see a few people saying no. Some people saying it's about the same. All right, so it's a mixed bag out there. Fair enough. Other questions that we can help answer for anybody, or any suggestions for topics for another town hall? We are moving our town halls to every other month. We've been getting pretty busy around here at Cadre and just want to make sure that we are providing all of you with the quality information and the quality time that we can set aside for all of you for these town halls. And every other month is working better for us. So thank you for your flexibility. And thank you all for joining us on this. What other questions can we help answer? Let me pop over to the chat and just see if there's anything else in there, but I think Lana's been on top of it.
Yeah, there's nothing in there right now.
Excellent.
There actually is a question. It was directed to me instead of to the team, but Jen was asking about cell phone use. Is that an independent, client-driven answer as far as who reimburses for that?
Exactly. And that's a great question, because it is going to be client-driven. And Biana, if you're able to share your screen once again, we can show where you would look for that information so that you know what you're agreeing to. So for example, if we go into, there we go, we're in her profile once again. In that expense area, right above where it says add expense, that's going to be the expense policy. Now, if it opens up and you see that, it means that there is a custom policy that you should review, take a look at, make sure that you are agreeing to before. And that looks like it's a placeholder that they meant to add later on. However, that's where you'll take a look and see what the expense policy would be. Biana, would you hop over to one of the projects in there? One of the, yeah, underneath all. Perfect. Beautiful. Yes, if you would, thank you. And while you're in here, beautiful. If you would hop over to the compliance tab down below. Down and over. There we go. Perfect. In here is where you'll find any of those additional custom policies, because clients can add their own expense policy in here. As we saw, it can be added in here. But if there are any other custom policies, it doesn't look like this particular client has any, but there might be an NDA, there might be a code of conduct, there might be a COVID policy, there might be a social media policy, whatever it happens to be, any and all of that can be added in. So as you are taking a look at new positions, just double check and make sure that you know exactly what you are agreeing to when you send in that offer. And these custom policies and that expense policy is a great way to do it. Biana, would you hop over to, I think maybe the CVent and Spot Me Hero
or yeah, Spot Me Support, Spot Me Hero. I'm combining apps now. But if you would hop over, yep, to compliance and then expense policy, I think it should be Cadre's standard expense policy. So this is what Cadre's standard expense policy looks like. It comes out in that slide out, fairly standard. And if that's what they have agreed to, that's our default for the expense policy. Again, fairly standard and can be viewed from your profiles in more in depth, which is great. But again, clients have an opportunity to add their own expense policy and supersede that in here. So just make sure that you know whose policies you're following, or at least which policies you're following when you are contracted for a project.
And Kate, is there a standard as far as housekeeping? I mean, any of us on the road or staying in hotels, and whether you have daily service or just at the end of your stay, a gratuity is, I mean, these people are hardworking like we are.
Right.
Is there a standard for that, or if that is not in place, it's just on your own?
It depends on the client. Some clients will reimburse for those gratuities. Some clients say that's up to you. Keep track of it for yourself. So again, client by client for that particular one. And great question about that too.
Hey, Kate, can we address when people, if they've entered all their expenses and they've submitted them, when they get paid? And I think maybe Erin can.
Yeah, great question. So you're able to submit your expense report once your contract is over. You've got 7 days to get that in. And as Lana mentioned earlier, don't hit submit too soon, because once it's submitted, it's over there. Erin, add some details and let us know, what is that pay schedule, just to remind all of us, if you would, please.
So for on-site, the pay schedule is pay occurs on the 15th and 30th of every month. To be included on the pay for the 15th, your expense report has to be correctly submitted and approved by the 1st of the month. And to be included on the 30th, the pay for the 30th, your expense report has to be submitted and approved by the 15th of the month. For the office and remote positions, they are paid weekly on Fridays.
Excellent. Thank you for that reminder. And so that everyone knows as well, clients, once they receive your expense report, they have 14 days to get it reviewed and approved. And what we've seen is most of them get it done a lot faster than that, which is wonderful. But if it seems like they're dragging their feet, just know that they've got 14 days to get that submitted before it's automatically done for them by Cadre. Wonderful. Great. What other questions can we help answer? I'm going to pop into the chat and just see.
Yeah.
And Kate, this is unrelated to expenses, but I believe it was on last month, or I guess it was January, if we didn't have one last month. There is a project that came out, and I've seen a lot of people responding to it. I could let you know what it is, but a lot of people have asked questions, and the person said we should know something more in the next week, and it's been over 2 weeks since that happened. So there's just a lot of questions with clients not providing the right amount of information for us to be able to respond.
Sure. And I know that we've been working with our clients a lot more to provide more details from the get-go. If it's the client I'm thinking of, she's had a lot of in and out of the office and been waiting to get that clarification from her client before she can pull the trigger, so to speak, and start those interviews. And it's just been taking her client a little longer to make that happen.
Yeah, it's that coordinator 5 meetings one.
Sure, that would be the one. She's just been waiting for the client to come through for that one. That's right. So bear with them, patience. It's still a strange world out there for our industry, as you all know. So I would say, go ahead and keep messaging them. I have seen that they've been a bit more responsive in that Q&A area, and they've been adding more details as we've been coaching them along. So slow baby steps, we're getting there.
and we're going to keep working with them to get those responses sooner. But I do know that some clients, as you all know, things come up and they take precedence, and things get put on the back burner. And I'm pretty sure that that's the one. So yeah, excellent. What other questions? These are great.
There is a question that says if the project has a standard expense policy listed, does that mean that air travel is not going to be reimbursed? If airfare is going to be reimbursed, where does that show up on the project? Is it always under compliance that you just showed? How do I easily identify which project will pay for airfare and hotel?
Sure. So if they are not looking for local, they are open to traveling you in. And if that's the case, industry standard is to pay your air and lodging. If they are looking for locals, they will have that listed in their in the project posting. In which case, generally what we have seen, if they're looking for locals, it's probably just a few hours, and they're looking for someone who's willing to drive in and drive out. In which case they'll probably cover mileage, but check that portion out. If they are looking for local only, see whether they're covering mileage, parking, and those details in the expense policy. If it's our standard expense policy, we say mileage and parking are reimbursable. But again, double check with what the client has posted in there. Again, if they are willing to fly people in, meaning they're not looking just for local people, the industry standard and what is built into Cadre is that they would reimburse you, or they would book the air and hotel for you. Great.
A question.
Sure.
Well, sometime in the past, according to which assignment I'm in, for example, accounting, sometime accounting, it doesn't end really the day of your program. And
Okay.
so you still keep working a few hours when you're home. These hours will be paid, or it's just part of those days which are in the program?
Talk to your client. Again, it's going to come down to each particular client. Cadre is just a platform so that your client and you can compliantly be contracted and get the work done. If it's one of those planning hours and the hours are taking longer, talk to your client. If you're on site and the hours are a lot longer on site and it's requiring extra work behind the scenes, talk to your client if things need to be worked out. And if things do need to be worked out and you need a little extra help, reach out to our support team. Our support team is really great at making sure that the clients get the contracts updated as needed and assisting in those particular details. But I would reach out to your client, work it out with them, and then feel free to loop our support team in.
Thank you.
Sure. Excellent. That sounds great. All right, everyone. What else can we help everyone answer today?
I think there's something that may not be a question that applies to everybody, but maybe Kim can respond to. Is any update on the Edward Jones summer regional assignments?
Ashley's working on them, so reach out to Ashley for any client information for that program.
Perfect.
That's it.
I know Kim's not working on that particular one, so
Right.
she's not going to have a whole lot of details either, but yeah, I would agree. Just go ahead and reach out to Ashley. And
It's like yeah, and this is like a program that it's not open to everybody on Cadre. So
right.
Any questions about this, you need to contact Ashley.
Exactly. Exactly. Great. Any other questions we can help answer for anybody? If you're too shy to come on camera and you're busy typing, let me just vamp for a moment or two for all of you. We do have our next town hall lined up. It will be the third Tuesday in May, so we hope to see you all then. Hold on to that date and keep your eyes open for those details. Go ahead and Lana, if you would start adding some of those contact details in there so that people know who to contact and how. So if you've got those support questions, contact support@hirecadre.com. If you have money questions, reach out to our accounting team, accounting@hirecadre.com. If you've got those Edward Jones questions, reach out to EJ@hirecadre.com. And if there's anything in there that you're not seeing and you just need a little extra help, and you're not seeing it all out there, try our YouTube channel or try our knowledge base. We've really built both of those up so that you have the power to answer your own questions for the most part. And if you don't see your answer in there, let us know. We're always adding new videos, new how-tos, especially as we update the site. Wonderful. Thank you for adding those in there, Lana. Perfect. Wonderful. All right, everyone.
Something that, take a look at your passport, and if you need it renewed, to send that out now, because it's taking longer to get passports renewed. So I would hop on that, and also make sure that your profile is active in Cadre. Background checks do expire. Like, you could be active one day and then not active the next. So just make sure that you keep that all up to date.
Perfect. And you should receive automated emails giving you warnings for all of that as well, so that you're not completely blindsided. But it is absolutely great to know that it's helpful to know at any rate, not great per se, that the passports are taking longer than normal to be renewed. So get on it now if you are looking or planning on being international this year and it's about to expire. I know I need to do mine. So that's a great reminder. Thank you, Kim. Excellent. And I see the support and accounting and EJ. And so if you've got those EJ questions, Ashley is the one running that one. So those will go directly to her. And that's the best way to get in touch with her. That's excellent. One more question I see showing up. I received an email that my background check is expiring, but not have heard back regarding renewal. The renewal can be done right within your profile. If you just go down into the background check portion, the renew button is right in there, and you should be able to save a card on file and have auto renewal set up at this point, so that next year there's no chance of it expiring. So take a look at that. It should be right in there. If it's about to expire, you should be able to just hop right in there, click renew, and get it all set and done for yourself.
I just thought it was odd because it sent a reminder saying you're going to get an email, and then I didn't get the email.
Well, Beth, I think what happens sometimes, we send out snack bites, the snack bites we send out. And sometimes they'll be about renewal of background. And then we had something just recently go out, and people, I think it was for expense accounts. And then people don't read the whole thing. And it's really just a reminder of how you do that once you receive an email that says it's coming. So maybe it's something that's the email you're referencing. So, and it's always good, just go into your profile. If you think it's yours, go into your profile and see if you can update it. But I think there is sometimes those snack bites are great because they send out, information about particular things, but we don't always read everything, read the whole thing. So
I'll take a look. Thank you.
All right, we've got about 20 minutes left, but I'm not seeing any extra questions. Feel free to jump in if you do. Again, I will vamp for a moment or two if anyone is trying to figure out how to ask it, or if they're trying to type it in there right now. Again, we've got our next town hall for everyone in May, 3rd Tuesday, 2:00 Eastern. I hope to see you all there, and I hope that our technical difficulties this time are ironed out, although you never know, that internet connection can go in and out at the most inconvenient times, can't it? If there's nothing else, I will end this short so that you all can continue your wonderful Tuesdays. I want to thank everyone for joining us today, bearing with our technical difficulties, and for the great questions that we have received. As always, feel free to reach out with extra questions at support@hirecadre.com, or to send in some other town hall topics. We are happy to take a look and get those incorporated. Once again, thank you, everyone. Have a wonderful Tuesday, and we'll see you all in May. Have a good one. Thanks. Bye.
Thank you. Bye. Thank you.